What's good, fans? It's Comic Book Kaiju here, and we're bringing you talking about the scariest episode of TV on Disney Plus this week. That's right, we got monsters, scary green things, body horror, demons. That's She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Now let's go.
Yeah. That voice you just heard is the illustrious Justin Gyorfi, who you've also heard previously on the Comic Book Kaiju talking about TMNT. Hopefully we can get Mr. Gyorfi back again to talk TMNT.
I love my green characters. What can I say?
yeah, that's I just not
actually
put that two together.
Fun fact.
Justin is mean green and straightforward into those jeans.
I thought you were going to say for some reason Puerto Rican, but that's also poured right into those jeans.
Oh,
no,
man.
we've already decided that you're Quebexican. So.
I know, I'm Quebexican. So hola, everybody listening to me. Hola from Quebexico City, Quebexico.
And what was the fun fact?
The Ninja Turtles and this week's She-Hulk special guest have the same origin.
Ooh. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And to the fact that Eastman and Laird directly homaged that character's origin, said that it's theirs, and that's why their master is Splinter instead of Stick, and they fight the foot instead of the hand.
Yes. Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Mr. Gyorfi. We also have from the Hold On Maneuver, Mr. Marc Vibbert, who has joined us on previous She-Hulk episodes. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Wait.
And
sorry, wrong podcast.
We are talking this week, She-Hulk episode 8, Ribbit and Rip It. And both of you specifically requested to be on the episode that contained Daredevil. So we have finally gotten to this point. I was getting scared it wasn't going to be until the finale that we saw Daredevil.
I was actually more scared that all it was going to be like a teaser, post-credit teaser, and that's it. That's how we end it. And I was just like, all that hype for nothing.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Sylvie was thinking about that too. But
yeah, she scared the crap out.
Yeah, so like I said, Ribbit and Rip It. This one was the 8th episode of She-Hulk, directed by Kat Coiro, and written by comic writer Cody Ziegler. I'm going to read the description straight off of Disney Plus, guys. She-Hulk represents Leapfrog, who is injured due to a malfunction in his custom-made super suit. Where is my super suit? And I'm going to go around the room here, but this is my favorite episode of the show so far, season 1. This tops episode 1, which was my previous favorite, featuring Bruce. But let's go straight to Mr. Justin Gyorfi. What did you think about this episode in general?
In general, I loved it. It feels as though I'm a big time Daredevil comic fan.
Yes.
And like this feels like straight up something out of like Charles Soule's She-Hulk run to me. But then it just gives me all the funness that I loved about Charlie Cox's Matt Murdoch, his Daredevil, but like it's all the fun things, not just dark brooding, Frank Miller-esque Daredevil. It's the Daredevil I got from Mark Waid,
right?
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think don't get me wrong, people love their Frank Miller. I think the Mark Waid run, best run for the character.
Ooh.
And I absolutely loved it because it felt like I was right in there.
Yes, 100%. That's what I told my wife too when I was watching with her. Now I saw this twice. This morning I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I said, all right, I got to watch She-Hulk. And then the next later on that day when my wife woke up, I said, all right, we got to watch it together. And she loved it as well. But I was telling her, this is Daredevil comic accurate. This is not a watered down version of Daredevil. And it's not what the online community would have you believe. Everybody was talking about how this was going to be the corny Daredevil. It was too over the top funny. Like they watered him down, and I didn't get any of that. This to me was 100% Daredevil. I loved it. And Mr. Vibbert, you have gone on a recent Daredevil journey in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So I just recently too, I just finally watched season 3 of the Netflix series, which is on Disney Plus now.
Yeah.
Yes. But and then I picked this up recently too.
Nice.
From the artist Dan Hip. So I like this little variation of like the 3 different costumes in there too.
That's cool.
But yeah, I've asked both of you for like recommendations as far as like which stories to pick up. So I have a few like the Frank Miller stories. I have the Kevin Smith run as well too, and I believe I had you loan me the Mark Waid and Charles Soule runs of Daredevil as well too. So they're all on my. Some of those I've read through. Some of them are on my list to still read. But
yes,
and I would really enjoying it. And yeah.
Also, for any listeners out there, I would 100% recommend the Brian Michael Bendis and the Ed Brubaker runs on Daredevil. Those are my personal favorites. Like that's when I became a fan of Daredevil, was the Bendis and Brubaker runs. So definitely check those out. But as a Daredevil fan, we're all Daredevil fans here. This is like the Daredevil cast we could do. But overall, Mr. Vibbert, what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, kind of repeating your sentiment. This is now like my favorite episode of season 1 so far. Last week, actually, I don't know how many other people episode 7 was their favorite, but that was actually my favorite after last week.
The whole group therapy, everything, loved it.
That was the retreat.
I really liked the whole mental health aspect of it. I don't know like how popular that is. I know like a few of us like the whole aspect of it, but I really enjoyed last week's episode. I'm hoping that's all actual genuine stuff that happened in that episode still. Not to skip too far ahead of what happened in this episode, but I'm hoping all of that stuff we saw, that like all of that progress she made with that group and with those people in that was actually genuine like connection between all of them, and it wasn't something else kind of nefarious, which I'm kind of iffy on maybe if it is or not. But I, like you guys said, I really enjoyed this episode. I liked how Charlie Cox depicted Matt Murdoch in here, and I think I shared it with both of you too, where it seemingly like on like the official like byline or the synopsis of Matt Murdoch showing up on this show, it almost kind of more or less confirms that the 3 seasons of the Netflix series and what he went through on that is actually canon to the MCU at this point. So that's going to be interesting too, as far as like when Born Again comes out, and how much of in the story is in the Echo series that's going to be coming out too. But I really liked the chemistry he had with or that Charlie Cox had with Tatiana Maslany in this too. That really makes me like, I don't know if it's selfish, but I was like, man, now I really want her to be in at least 9 of those 18 episodes of Daredevil Born Again when that comes out.
I need more of them together. I was actually like really awesome. I was really sad that Matt couldn't make it to the gala to be her date. But
yeah, that was something that my wife also, she was like a big fan of their relationship, and I was telling her Daredevil is, I think he's up there with Tony Stark as far as body count, as far as how many women he's slept with in the Marvel universe. I think he's neck and neck with Tony Stark, but Jen is no slouch herself. No. And seeing those two get together, at first my wife was like, "Oh, are they? Are they gonna? Oh, they did it, yeah!" So yeah, we everybody in this household was having a good time watching that relationship.
I loved the flirting between them.
Oh yeah,
both as like professional Jen and Matt at the bar, and then superhero
Yes.
She-Hulk and Daredevil flirting.
Yes.
Oh, it's just
all of that was
perfect.
Great. And her looking at the camera and like feeling like he's really doing it for me. Like all of those things were great. I think they just interweaved everything together just fantastically. There was no slow moment in this episode. Every storyline was on point. Every relationship, like everything kept the plot moving. So that's why it's 100% my favorite episode of the season. And even the performance by Brandon Staley, who played Leapfrog, which they did kind of a hybrid thing. And I put out a short about Leapfrog, also known as Frogman. They did kind of a hybrid thing because Leapfrog was his dad, and his dad passed down the suit, and then he wanted to be a hero versus his dad was a villain. They kind of combined those storylines into Leapfrog, but his performance just made me laugh the whole time. His catchphrase, him being a dummy and not listening to the manufacturer instructions, all that stuff was just perfect. Like all of the comedy in this was hitting on all cylinders. I didn't think there was a slow moment in this episode. Did you guys have anything that you would have liked changed or anything different in the episode, or you think it was just chef's kiss on this one?
I think at the end, like when after Matt's leaving her place,
the walk
and like it's just the walk of shame. I mean, I'm just gonna say I wouldn't be no ashamed of that. But, I felt very rushed, and I know that's the point. And I wish we could have had a little more time between that and then going to the gala.
Yeah.
Although
I just wanted to spend more time with Happy Jen.
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of like how like with the show, like how they almost like put a hat on any of this like stuff, like tapping it right on the nose and be like, oh, what you think is happening right now. Like, oh, A storyline and B storyline merging together. Nice. Or then like in this where she's like, oh wait, this is next week's the finale episode, and then she's like breaking down all this what's about to happen. Well, which is kind of funny. Like I know for us, because we watch probably like a lot of TV, but I wonder like how that. I almost wonder how people that or maybe just like randomly watching like a one or two shows here or there, how much of that like registers for them as far as like tropes and how like the formula of how television
TV
is done
works.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it either goes over their head and they don't even think about it, or there's those people who the vocal minority online that are like, oh, this show's too goofy, her twerking, it's just over the top, it's not like they're killing the character, right? Like there's all these headlines I'm seeing on YouTube, all these clickbait articles. Oh, they're killing it, they're destroying Daredevil, they're destroying Matt Murdoch. Blah.
I'm just gonna say right now, if they put Rick from Rick and Morty doing anything that Jen does in an episode, they would be loving it. But because it's a beautiful, strong green woman doing it, you got a bunch of butthurt dudes, and yeah,
you're not wrong.
Well,
I mean, look at what happened.
Morty does twerk in an episode of Rick and Morty too.
Yeah, he does. There's a GIF, like there's a meme of him doing that. Yeah,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, I don't get the backlash that I'm seeing of.
Well, what was there? That one like Cinephile tweet about there being backlash from Daredevil fans because he had sex, and then like that was done as satire before anything, and then that happened.
Yeah. I don't get it, but I'm hoping. This, like I said, it is the minority, and Marvel sees the reaction and response. Because out of the people who I am friends with, who are comic fans, everyone is loving it that I'm talking to. Everyone in my circles is enjoying it, and I'm hoping Marvel sees that and gives us a season 2, because I'd really hate for this to just be it, 9 episodes, and then we're done with She-Hulk. But I was also kind of thinking about it the other day. I wonder how her place in the MCU is going to be going forward, because as so far we haven't seen anyone go from TV to movies. We've seen people go from movies to TV. So I would think they would want her to be an Avenger. I think they'd want her to be on the team. And that's another thing. It's like, what is the Avengers lineup going to be moving forward? Yeah. All of that stuff is kind of up in the air right now, but it just, I would love to have Tatiana Maslany in films, in the film Marvel universe. So that was just something I was thinking about as I was watching this episode.
The Marvels, I think, will be the first one that has like 2 of the actors that were in.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
a
right.
Disney Plus series first that are then going to be in a film.
Right.
But
yeah, I want to see how that works out.
I think like New World Order is going to have the actor who's going to become the new Falcon in that is going to be in there too.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, I hope that she's in at least some of the films. I saw like that there was rumors that she might be in the New World Order film, just because now we know that Tim Blake Nelson's in that as the leader.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thinking because of the Hulk connection there.
Right. Gyorfi, what are you saying?
I was just gonna say for like Captain America 4, just see her in there for anything like Sam Wilson would have to deal with as being Captain America, as a representative for the United States, while also not necessarily being the representative that they want. It could cause some legal issues, and who's going to be the lawyer he goes to.
Right. Well, that's what's kind of cool about this show now. Anytime we have some type of legal thing, not only do we have Daredevil, Matt Murdoch to call on, but now we have Jen Walters, so we can have those 2 lawyers anytime we need them. But
we got East and West Coast.
Yeah. I got to say, I think that was my favorite part of this episode, was when Matt comes in, number 1, charms the entire room's pants off. First thing coming in, oh, I had trouble parking. Like I was watching the show, and my son was sleeping in the room next to me. I had to like withhold my laughter so I didn't wake him up multiple times. But that was the first one when he said that about the parking. And then just the way that he just like outmaneuvered her legally, like just won the case completely. It was like he just outlawyered you. And that
they kind of dropped a bomb in that too, in that scene with like saying
the Sokovia
Accords were repealed. I was like, we didn't know that before. And I was like, oh, Team Cap was right. Just we all knew it was.
Yeah. But yeah, that all the legal stuff was great. And even when they were fighting as Daredevil and She-Hulk, and he's giving his legal advice, talking about PTSD, how would that play in a courtroom? Like, I was loving that. I was eating that stuff up. And I'm not big on courtroom dramas, but that just was fun to me. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that.
No, I just have one big thought in general on She-Hulk right now, is that I've been loving how much it has really expanded Marvel's world compared to like everything was so isolated and we like only knew of these characters, but we have, elves coming in from the 9 realms. Yeah. You've got Mr. Immortal. You've got so many other different little things here that just shows there is a whole broader world, especially now that than we have seen ever before. And I just want to be like, this is something I've been wanting, and I like that this is the way we get there, is through this fun, silly fourth wall breaking show.
Yeah. And I think you guys are both the same as me. I love fourth wall breaking stuff. I've said on this podcast before. So Ferris Bueller, and anytime Deadpool looks at the camera or looks at the reader, it's always like, it's like kind of like the catnip to me, where I'm like, this, I automatically love this. Whatever it is, I love it because he's talking to the reader, he's talking to the viewer. That just makes me fall in love with it. So I was Jen already had me when they said, like, that first trailer, when she looked at the camera, I was like, all right, I'm going to love this show. So I think they've done a very good job of doing that throughout this show. I would actually like some more fourth wall stuff where she's talking to the camera, but this one in particular, like you said, Vibbert, the last scene where she was like, wait a minute, oh, there's going to be a third act twist and the finale is next week. So they gave us a lot in this episode. And this episode was also like really jam packed with stuff. Like I said, there was never a dull moment. It was like there was always something happening from the start
opening
to the finish.
close.
Mm-hmm. So and what's going on with that Todd guy? Like him trying to first calling her a specimen. Like I almost kind of think that he might be involved with the Hulk King, or he might be the Hulk King at some point. But
speaking of him, with the whole scene with like where he like made her like come to like meet him at like a restaurant with that, and then like he's like, oh, I bought this Wakandan spear, and he's like, they're trying to get it back because they said colonizers took it, and then it's like Wakanda forever. She's like, that makes me feel uncomfortable.
That was great.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest moments of the episode.
That actually like took me back to an Atlanta episode.
Oh yes,
the Juneteenth one for Vactor and anybody else that's watched Atlanta. I don't know, Marc, if you had, but I'm
behind on it.
It's solid.
Yeah, I just caught up to the latest season, the current season.
I've not watched any of 4 yet. But
okay, yeah, so I need to get caught up on the current one. But I just, like I said, this was my favorite episode from start to finish. I have no notes, and I think you guys share my same sentiment. I don't like seeing her sad. I don't like seeing her get dumped on, and I felt like there's a lot of Jen dumping just for comedy's sake. Like I want to see her win more and lose less. So hopefully in the finale. Now, the ending of the show, it seems like they're trying to blackmail her into being, she's the savage She-Hulk. She's out of control, just like her cousin. I want to see what they like. How are they going to wrap up this season? And then is it going to be a cliffhanger to whether we get season 2 or not? Or is it going to be wrapped up in a bow? Like how is this final episode going to play out? So I'm very interested, especially intrigued.
Especially with like how they do break the fourth wall, because I'm assuming they'll kind of like again like point out like finale.
That would be funny if that's how we got the announcement. Is like at the end she's like, all right, we got to do season 2, guys. We can't wrap this up.
That's got to be our post credit.
Yeah. Which that is now a sore spot for me, because after that 4th episode, which they were all the reviewers, all the people who got the early screeners were like, oh, there's a post stinger after every episode is going to have something new. We have not had a single one since those first 4 episodes leaked or were reviewed. So now,
although I guess to be fair to them, they only saw those first 4 episodes.
That's what I'm saying.
4 of them did have.
That's what got everyone's expectation up. Was okay. We have these 4, and everyone who we know, those people who got the 4 ahead of time, because they were the ones saying that there was going to be a post-credit sequence. But if you don't have confirmation from Marvel or Disney, don't try to act like you know better than them. And this is just proof right there.
I do though like the new art every episode, or
that is I was hoping we would get something. You're talking about the post one. Yeah, I like when the title sequence changes. Where it's like something different all the time. But yeah, the end credits have been fantastic. I only wish that every single panel was a new one. Every piece of art was a new one, versus some are old, some are new. They kind of switch it up there.
I still love when I get the new ones. They're just like this week's fantastic.
Yeah, the Daredevil
ones.
Yeah. All of them have been fantastic. So that company has been doing a great job. But like I said, I got no notes. This is just a great episode.
The last thing I want to bring up, just that I geeked out about while I was watching the episode, was like when Daredevil was talking to She-Hulk, like when they're first meeting each other as Daredevil and She-Hulk. And he's like, I'm Daredevil. And then it starts playing the Netflix like theme music to it.
Yes.
I was like, yes.
I
was like, oh
yeah, I started to get goosebumps because I was listening to it on headphones, like I said, because my son was in the next room. But when I heard, like, I was like, ah.
I feel like even
Peter
just using that music
Yes.
is like confirmation that the
It's
Netflix
canon.
series is canon.
Yeah.
Like if they're using that music, then there you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I loved that. I also like that he's way more acrobatic in this too, kind of like how
Yes.
they made Kingpin like way more kind of, I don't know, could withstand. Well, I mean, if you watch the Hawkeye finale, you could like he took like a crap load of.
He took
he took
a building.
Yeah, so I like kind of how like they ratcheted up like the power levels of both Matt and Kingpin in the respective like first shows up.
Yeah, I wonder if that's how it's going to be in Born Again.
Yeah, should be interesting. And then I guess Echo too, because Echo will come out before Born Again, right?
Yeah.
I also just gotta say, they gave us a hallway scene.
Yes.
Every Daredevil season needs that hallway scene, and they gave us a hallway scene. Was it as good as season 1 hallway scene? No. But that's because that set the bar.
Right.
Was it still fun? Absolutely.
And I think
and seeing him use his like
it a little.
But seeing him use his baton more too.
That's what I told my wife. I said, all of these things are why this episode is the most comic accurate Daredevil depiction I think we've ever seen. We got him bouncing the club off the wall. We got him being a lawyer, going through legalese. We got him being charming. We got him being funny, acrobatic. All of these things are why I love Daredevil, and we got him in this episode. So that's why I told my wife, I was like, this is Daredevil. This is Daredevil. We've seen him in the Netflix show, but this is Daredevil right here. So all of those things made me happy when I saw those.
We were just missing the Catholic guilt, and then it would have been perfect.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there. I mean,
they only had 29 minutes.
Like I said in the Discord for us, I was just like, man, but like, Matt, you're now like 4 people away directly from Jesus. You shouldn't be sleeping around like that.
Yeah. So yeah, just a great episode overall, my friends. I'm very glad that we got a chance finally to talk about Daredevil on She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and we're going to look forward to next week. We're actually going to be doing a wrap-up of the entire show. So we're going to combine episode 9 and then the whole season 1 as a whole. So stay tuned for that next week. Mr. Justin Gyorfi, anything specific that you want to plug? Anything that you got going on?
I really don't have anything going on. I might start talking with somebody about some little side project, but he doesn't know that I'm going to, because it literally just came up before we recorded this. But that's besides the point. You can catch me out on Twitter at beef_Gyorfi. That's GYORFI. I don't know. I will be back
for some more Turtle Talk.
Turtle Talk. We're going to probably discuss some Dark Crisis eventually here.
Ooh, yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to give you some spoilers. We will be back for January for DC's big crossover written by Mark Waid that has the fallout for Batman versus Robin that's happening right now, because that thing looks crazy with Electric Blue Superman and Helmet of Fate Batman and Doomsday Martian Manhunter and Dreamer from CW or Supergirl is going to be in there. So
nice.
I almost said Stargirl, but that's a different CW show.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Mr. Vibbert, where can we find you this week on the internet?
This week on the internet, you can find me in the Holo Maneuver episode that we just had come out today, actually, that you were also on, where we were talking about episode 5 of Andor. You can also eventually find that same episode here on Vactor's channel too. And then coming up soon, I'll be doing a new episode of Animation Fascination, talking about the new Kid Cudi.
Cuddy.
I don't Cuddy. Okay, I never know if I pronounce his name correctly when I'm. It's like, but yeah, his new animated film that's on Netflix. So
Nice.
you may or may not be on that one possibly,
Yeah.
but yeah, me and Stanford will be talking about that on Animation Fascination. And
Yeah, hopefully I will have some time, but my son, it's always kind of up in the air whether I'm going to have free time or not. So hopefully I will be joining you, but if not, still check out the Animation Fascination podcast for some great animated talk. All right. And if you're into great talk, you're in the right place. The Comic Book Kaiju podcast here on YouTube. If you like, we've got some great back episodes. Like I said, Gyorfi has been on, Vibbert's been on. We've had everyone on. But if you know anyone who would like to come on the Comic Book Kaiju podcast and talk comics, let us know in the comments down below. Or if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a review and let us know who you want to see come on the Comic Book Kaiju podcast. Because She-Hulk, Daredevil, Matt Murdoch, Justin Gyorfi, Marc Vibbert, they all love comics, and you should too. And Sylvie.